Hello everyone, welcome to the Marketing Cloud Interaction Studio Bootcamp Session 2. And today our presenters are Abhishek Parekh. He's a Marketing Cloud Practice Lead. And along with that, we have Kamalkant Kaur. He's one of the very senior developers I have working with in past and current also. So these two will be our presenter of the day. First of all, we would like to thank you for taking out time on the Friday and dedicated this time for learning. And hopeful we are really hopeful that this 1 hour will be fruitful to you. And after the end of this session, you'll be able to grasp more knowledge on Interaction Studio. Now, a little bit about the group. So this group is known as Salesforce Marketing Group, Marketing Cloud Jaipur. Currently, Anil and myself are co-leading this group. And if you want to reach out to us, we have these mediums. So we are available on Twitter with the handle @Jaipur Marketers. On LinkedIn and YouTube, you can search us with the name of Salesforce Jaipur Marketers. So usually with every event, we conduct some quizzes just to lead up to the event and just to have that flair of the knowledge within the community. And also there are some vouchers to give away. So we publish those quiz on Twitter and LinkedIn. So please follow us there. And at the end of each session, we post the recording on our YouTube channel. So if you want to refresh or if you are not able to join any session because of other commitments, you can always go to our YouTube channel and look at the recording. Now, let's talk a little bit about the mission of this group. So the mission is divided into two parts. One is develop local talent. And again, there are two parts of this. So one is we want our local community people to come and join these sessions and gain more knowledge from these sessions. And another part is we always request on our channels that if somebody wants to give a session, please come forward. So if any from the local community, anybody wants to come forward, give a session and share their knowledge, that will be great as well. So the mission is to develop both sides of talent. If a presenter is coming up and he wants to explore that how their presentation skills and improve on those, that is one part. And then of course, there's always something new to learn to the audience side. And the other part is help build digital skills. So as you all know, because of this pandemic, the entire business sector is going digital overnight. And in this time, it is mandatory to have your digital skills sharpened up. So that's what this group is dedicated for. Majority of our sessions are around the digital capabilities of Salesforce. A little bit introduction about our group leader. So Anil Pilania, he is our founder and group leader. You can reach out to him on his email ID, anilpilania@trailblazersctl.com. Then he is available on Twitter as well, Anil Pilania, and on the LinkedIn. Same goes with me. I'm co-leading this group. You can always reach out to me on my email ID, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and we'll try to respond to you as soon as possible. Now, to lead up to this event also, we had one quiz, and it was primarily based on the knowledge we acquired from the session one. So the question was which two catalogs, attribute, and dimension would you like to create while implementing Interaction Studio for a financial service business? We received quite a few entries, but then we collectively decided that Vijay Vasa answer was good enough. So Vijay, if you are there, congratulations for winning Salesforce voucher, and we really thank you for participating in it. All right. So before we start the session, some gentle warm-up now. So please pay attention to the session. The main agenda here is the learning. So the Twitter and social things can wait, and we can post those things after the session. Please ask your questions in Q&A tab only. If you have any more to add, you can put it in chat, but questions should go to Q&A. That will help us to manage it properly. The session recording will be available on YouTube channel, Salesforce Jaipur Marketers. It usually takes around 24 hours to get it uploaded, so look for that. And as I said, if any one of you wants to present a session on this group, please do reach out to me and Anil, and we will surely gonna help you to prepare the content and any help you need, and then obviously in the presenting the session as well. And then if you want to win some certification vouchers, please participate in our contest. Sometimes the questions are tough, sometimes they are easy, sometimes they are just an activity. We encourage you everyone to please participate in those. There is an intention behind every contest, and that will gonna add to your skill in one way or another. So please do participate on those. And not all sessions has the quizzes, but yeah, a lot of them do. So that is a quick checkup. Now let's coming back to introduction to our session. This is the session 2 of Marketing Cloud Interaction Studio Bootcamp. Today we're gonna deep dive into the sitemap and other implementation aspects, which Abhishek and Kamal will gonna walk us through. So let's dive into today's session. So Abhishek, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Vikas. I will start sharing my screen now.
Yeah.
I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes.
Perfect. So thank you, Anil and Vikas, for giving this opportunity. And I hope everyone who is present in today's session is doing great. My name is Abhishek, and I am into this Salesforce ecosystem for last 10 plus years. Earlier, I was working in the multiple core CRM technologies, and in last 1+ years, I have dived deeply into marketing cloud and related technologies. So before we start today, I'll quickly recap the concepts we learned in our last session. We started with the concept of personalization, then saw how Interaction Studio helps in personalization process. We also learned about data model, catalog design, usage of dimensions and attributes to design the catalog, user identity attributes, and Interaction Studio Web SDK beacon installation on the website pages, from where you want to track the user behavior. Now that we know how catalog is used to store user profile and behavioral data and build affinity around it, we'll today be talking about the ways to collect that data from website or other channels to feed it back to Interaction Studio. So without further ado, let's go. Let's deep dive into that. So like any other project, Interaction Studio project starts with the discovery process. And today, while I walk you through this discovery and implementation process, I'll be talking about 3 key characters who are part of this process. So in our today's story, Aditya is our solution architect, Kamal is our Interaction Studio developer, and I have picked another popular character from one of the movies, Bunny, because he closely resembles to what we'll be talking about today. So Bunny is a hiking enthusiast who goes to NTO site and looks for those hiking products a lot of time. Now, coming back to Interaction Studio discovery process, during the Interaction Studio discovery process, our smart solution architect Aditya works with the Interaction Studio customer team to understand the business context for the Interaction Studio web implementation. He collects understanding of website structure and what data will be available for collection for Interaction Studio. A sitemap blueprint is an output of this discovery process, and it is a skeleton for the structure of your sitemap. It serves as a guide for developer who, obviously Kamal, will be writing the sitemap code. And it will also act as a reference for other stakeholders who are directly not part of this project, but will get affected by this Interaction Studio implementation on the website. In the sitemap blueprint, Aditya will define the page types which are to be mapped, structure and layout of those page types, what relevant data will be available on each page type, which will be chosen for mapping, and where individual values will be collected from within the site. As a business, Aditya customer would like all the documentation to be updated all the time for everybody's quick reference. Before making any changes, customers should talk to Interaction Studio implementation team consisting of Aditya and Kamal, so that they are not making changes which can break this implementation of Interaction Studio on their website. Another good strategy when Aditya and Kamal are starting on this implementation journey is to create a test data set to test sitemap code, because they don't want to mess up their production data with test data, as that production data will be used for building the catalog and will be used to train those machine learning recipes and campaign targeting logic. So completion of this blueprint will trigger the beginning of implementation phase. Now, once blueprint is completed, we need to understand how the anatomy of page type config works. The term sitemap represents the JavaScript configuration through which the Interaction Studio web channel solution architecture is defined. Our Interaction Studio developer Kamal must configure a sitemap using Blueprint to be able to collect users' interactivity data on all desired website page types to support web templates and campaign creation. Here, Aditya has color-coded the blocks for simplicity. So the blue ones here are descriptive of the definition of page type config, and the dark green ones are indicative of the execution for data collection. Amongst these blocks, the first one is isMatch. The isMatch property must declare a function that tells Interaction Studio that how they're gonna determine what type of page user is viewing. isMatch function should either return a Boolean or a promise that resolves to a Boolean. Typical common methods which are used to match the page are URL, DOM, window object properties like data layers, or meta tags. There are other ways as well. There is one JS load, and there are a whole lot of other ways as well, but these are the common methods. Now, the action property provides a way for Interaction Studio to name the user actions, which our user Bunny will be taking on NTO website while he browses through that. And those activities, those actions could be viewing a page or signing up for an email subscription. Now, content zones are the areas where personalized targeted campaigns are inserted based on the Bunny's affinity, which is derived from his behavior on the website, which is real time, which he's doing at the moment, as well as what he has done in the past when he was on that website, or maybe at physical store of NTO. Content zone consists of a name and a selector. Now, the next important item is catalog. We talked enough already about it, but I'll refresh. The catalog object is used to collect and send information about the items which Bunny will be interacting on the website. When tracking a catalog item, _ID will be a required field in sitemap. One important consideration is catalog items and attributes must be added through Interaction Studio UI before those can be used on sitemap to capture data. The next concept is listeners, and sitemap listeners are used for listening to user actions on the page, capture information from their actions, and send the action and information back to Interaction Studio. For example, there could be a listener which will capture the quantity of items Bunny is adding to his cart. An item action is a concept when a user takes specific actions related to an item in the catalog. There are few item actions which comes out of the box in Interaction Studio. Some of those examples could be adding to a cart or purchasing, or dropping a comment there. Now, there is another concept which is on action event, and on action event is a function which will be used with the action event property to send those events back to Interaction Studio. And a simple example could be when Bunny is searching something on that website, this action event will send attributes like Bunny's user ID or certain other attributes along with this action event, that Bunny, what kind of search term Bunny is using to search for the products. Now that was the anatomy. This is a typical example of how a product detail page would look like and how this page type config will work there. So there could be 100 of product detail pages on the NTO website, but Aditya has grouped those pages together using product detail page type in accordance with the Interaction Studio best practices. And why do I say that? It is always good to create a grouping in terms of page type for your category pages or for your product detail pages or pages which you think are relevant to your business use cases, so that you don't create a data model which does not scale well. So this entire process of defining page types is critical to a scalable data model or catalog model. Now, here in this particular example, isMatch is a DOM element, because during discovery, Aditya could not find anything other, in other preferred ways, like we already explained as data layer or meta tag. Here, the action is product detail, which will be sent back to Interaction Studio to tag action Bunny takes on this page. If you look at this image, the content zone section, it outlines the content zone sections in those pink borders. And those sections are, those sections are you might like or more to explore, which is populated based on the user affinity Interaction Studio has built over time based on Bunny's past behaviors on website and external store which he sometimes visits. And from there, that data can be sent back using Event API. Now in catalog, we are capturing multiple important attributes such as ID, name, URL, inventory, price, and many other important attributes, which will be later used to build user affinity wheel. Aditya has also defined and Kamal has implemented a very relevant add to cart listener on this product detail page, so that whenever Bunny likes the current product and wants to purchase it, he can immediately go and add it to the cart from there itself. On this particular page, there is no action event which is defined. Now, here I'll be explaining another concept, that how page type config and global config is merged. But you must be wondering, we have not talked so far about global config. So what global config is? So let's understand what global config is. The global sitemap configuration object allows Aditya and Kamal to define what should be captured on every page, irrespective of which page type a user is. And a typical global config example would be a footer. An important thing to note here is global config is applied to every page and it is merged with specific page types after specific page types has captured the data. Here, if you look at it, first everything which is defined for page type will be executed, and then global config items will be merged. For example, here in the content zones, you look at recommended rows 1 and recommendation rows 2. So that data will be collected from this content zone. But there could be a global footer containing an input for capturing emails merged with a specific page, or there could be global content zones which are defined like a pop-up when you are trying to exit from the website, or when Bunny is trying to exit from the website, there could be a global pop-up which offers him something to keep him interested in the site. Now the next, sorry. Now the next piece would, and one important thing is these lists. In this particular case, we don't have any additional global config item for catalog, but there are additional listeners for email submission in global config. And there is a global config on action event called email addresses collected. In sitemap, these all elements like listeners or content zones are contained in an array. So these arrays are concatenated when specific page types and global page type are merged. The last piece here is the locale. So there is nothing specific to locale for specific page types, and then this global locale for English US is merged with our page type. So this is how this entire merging process happens. Everything related to specific page type config is first executed, and then on top of that, global config elements are merged or added on that page type. Sorry. Now we'll go through the process of how specific, sorry. Yeah, as Bunny was going through that entire website and he was browsing through various items and he was liking a lot of products on Antio website, his user actions were tracked into unified customer profile to collect his behavioral data around how many products he viewed, what products he has marked as favorites, what kind of products he added to the cart, or whether he made any purchase or not. Time spent is not required to be defined in sitemap as it is automatically tracked. But this is another important metric which is captured while Bunny is on that particular website or different pages on that website. Bunny also liked a particular offer on that website and filled a form for which Aditya and Kamal has already created a listener. So this all information is collected back, and which provides a very valuable context about Bunny's behavior back to Interaction Studio. And Bunny's action result in surfacing relevant user attributes, which will be collected in IS, as Aditya has smartly defined those attributes during catalog design phase. This data will be used to build a user affinity view and also creating segments, which will be further used in segmentation and analytics. And you can see a typical example here of of the users who have purchased a Trailblazer hoodie, irrespective of their location or geography or age or anything. So these all users can be segmented in a particular segment group, and then a targeted campaign can be run for that. Similarly, segmentation for what Bunny was doing on the website can group Bunny with other users who have great interest in hiking, and hence targeted campaign can be triggered for Bunny and other users in the same segment. Since Interaction Studio tracks user behavior in real time, campaigns can respond to user behavior in the moment, like Bunny is browsing through that website, and there itself content will be displayed to him based on his own interests. Now we have covered how data is collected using sitemap and how that data is used to create segments and targeted campaigns. I would like to touch upon another way within Interaction Studio through which we can collect that data. So ETL is another way through which Aditya and Kamal can plan and execute data ingestion for Bunny's data, which is collected when Bunny visits the Antio physical store. Before that, I'll quickly touch upon the concept of ETL. So extract, transform, load jobs, or ETLs are a way to extract data from one source, then transform and load into the Interaction Studio by using the SFTP site. ETL data fields have access to update the catalog, import and export segments, and load historical data. ETLs require an input file for record extraction. In a typical data ingestion process, Aditya collaborates with customer and guides them to normalize their data collected in NTO store. This data is normalized in the CSV format, and it is NTO's responsibility to cleanse and normalize the data, generate the feed, which is a way to send structured, current, and updated information from one system to another. Feeds are the ways for sending those files. Once a feed is configured, you will be able to view and manage it from Interaction Studio Feeds dashboard. Customer also needs to schedule the delta feeds. What delta feed means is that once you load everything, you may not want to keep loading all your data in your files every single time. You'll only be updating the latest data which you have collected since you last updated Interaction Studio with those offline files. Interaction Studio does the remaining job, which is data modeling, identity management using those identity attributes, which we talked about in last session, and data ingestion into predefined fields which are available. Few examples of those predefined fields are this user, account, or campaign feeds. You can also automate an ETL job. So there are two ways to ingest that data using ETL jobs. One is you can go and import those things manually, and the second one is those ETL jobs can be automated. Now, Interaction Studio ETL supports ingestion of those feed files delivered to the Interaction Studio SFTP site by NTO. And as I already said, these are the standard categories. So, user objects consist of user ETL, account ETL, user merge ETL. Similarly, catalog feed consists of certain feeds for products like products dimensions, and transaction and event feed consists of transactional ETL and external campaign event ETL. So typical example is you are running external campaigns in some other system and you want to import that. So you can do that using SFTP, or you want to capture those transactional ETLs which are stored in some database in your physical store. When someone comes in, you capture all those transactions and you want to put those transactions back in Interaction Studio. I think, yeah, that is all which I had to share. So in summary, in this session, what we learned is how do we collect data, and these are the two ways through which this data is collected. Another way which we have not covered here could be using those event API in external systems, using server-side campaigns, which we'll be covering in a later session, that how those server-side campaigns work. But through those server-side campaigns also, you can ingest data in Interaction Studio. With that, I think it is time for the demo. So over to you, Kamal.
Yes, Abhishek. So guys, let me share my screen. Please let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. So guys, Abhishek told us all the aspects about the Interaction Studio and the sitemap. And we have a case study where we need to track NTO site, and we need to capture some information that user is visited on page, and we need to send it data to Interaction Studio. We need to mark some area where we can do a customization. So after discussing with Aditya, developer, like I'm the developer in this implementation. So me and Aditya decide like what we need to capture and what data we need to send to Interaction Studio. So we decided on 3 pages we need to do some kind of customization. So in every site we have a 2 section that will come on all the pages. For example, we have header and we have a footer. So we think we need to capture the we need to create content zone for these two, header and footer, and also we need to track some information from this home page, and we need to capture some information from this detail screen, and also we need to mark some area where we can do some kind of customization in future. So if we are talking about the customization, capturing some event and marking the area where we can do customization, so in case of technical term, we have different uh, term that Abhishek explained in session. So let's talk about more in detail uh, with the live example. So that was our web site which we need to uh, implemented with Interaction Studio. So what I did, I used that Evergage launcher. For that, I configure all the details that we require. I switch on the visual editor, and if we switch on the visual editor, we can see this hexagonal panel. So there is a sitemap button is there. So when user click on this sitemap, we are navigating onto this sitemap page. And we already talk about the different section in this session. So first talk about the first we need to do when we are implementing the sitemap. In the bottom panel we have two tabs, one for the actual JS and one for the test JS. So we can do that. And in the left panel, if you see that, we can see all the attributes that we discussed during the session, like what are the page type, what are the user data we have, what kind of catalog we created, what content zone we are marking on this page. So all these things. So now talking about the basic syntax of sitemap. So Evergage library provides some methods that we need to use for the sitemap configuration. So if we need to initialize any sitemap, we need to use evergage.init method, and in which we need to define different property. In this case, we are defining cookie domain, and apart from this, we have like track URL also there, database data set also there, account also there. So, but these are just for the testing, and these are not available for production. Just give me 1 minute. I need to paste all the details. So we have attribute like account, dataset, track URL, and cookie domain. So account, dataset, and track URL are not available on the production. The cookie domain, where we need to track cookie, because the cookie is required for Interaction Studio implementation. We just need to provide this on our production side. So that is our first step, where we are just providing the cookie domain in initialize phase. And after, like, basically, if you see that, and if you are familiar with the JavaScript, that is basically return a promise, and we need to resolve this promise. And if after initialization is complete, we are in this step where we need to initialize actual sitemap object. So we are creating a sitemap object, and in this sitemap object we have different properties also there. So first we talk about the global object, and after that we gonna talk about the page type. So Abhishek already told us about the global object. So in global object, what we need to keep data. So in global object, we need to determine what information or what data we have presented on all the pages, and all the pages, and the functionality that is available on all the pages we need to keep track. So in this example, we have a header and we have a footer. So these two things are always available on all the pages, so we need to keep that track. So as per our requirement that we discussed, so we need to create two content zone for the future customization. First one for the header, that particular section, and one for the footer. And in case of footer, you see there is a input box. So whenever user inserted any kind of email address, we need to capture this and send data to interaction studio. And for these kind of purpose, we have listener available. So basically listener, what listener do, it listen the user action and send it data to interaction studio. So first we are going to configure our global object at here. So that is basically a simple syntax of our interaction studio. Now we are configuring the global object. And one more thing, I think Abhishek already discussed about isMatch function. So isMatch function, because we are configuring global object for all the pages, so there is no isMatch function available by which we can identify, or maybe we can match the configuration with the current page. So we don't need to configure isMatch function. We just need to, as per our requirement, we need to capture we need to mark two content zone in this site in global area, and also we need to implement one listener for that. So I already created some sample sitemap. So if you see that what we are doing, we provided a cookie domain, and in this case we provided tracker URL that we can get from the interaction studio. And I created a config object that we already discussed, and under the config object I created a global object, and we already discussed we need to create two content zone, one for the footer and one for the header. And whenever we are doing like creating content zone, we have two property at here. One is the name and one is the selector. So name, like we need to provide a name by which we can identify, or maybe the unique identity for content zone by which we can identify like which content zone is this. And second property, we have selector. So by this we can identify, or maybe the marking the area, and this may be a CSS class, this may be a ID, or any data layer object also there. So we need to provide this selector, and this selector is optional, it is not required. We just need to provide name, and that's all. And how we can check what kind of selector we need to provide. So in our case, if you see that I provided a CSS class, header.site header. So that is basically a CSS class. So I need to search site header in this HTML code. If you see that, yeah, if you see that we have a header tag here, and also we have class called site header, same for the footer, and by which we can create the content zone. So I think you all are you all are understand like how we can implement site content zone for this. And second requirement for global object, we have like we need to capture the information that user inserted in this email box. So how what kind of thing we need to implement? We need to implement listener for that. And also from the Evergage library, we have a listener method in which we need to provide a name. Second is the selector, same same as we implemented in content zone. We need to provide a CSS class, and it will return a promise, and under the promise, it will return a callback method. So once it will detect it, like whenever user click on this button, we are going into this, and we getting the value from the DOM element. I will more explain about these method, like what are the best practices to capture data from HTML pages. In case of interaction studio, I will explain more about it. So in this case, we are getting data from the DOM, and by which by this ID. So if you see that we have this input box, that is this input box, and we have a ID called DW from MC subscriber email. So if you see that we mention this ID, and I think you all are aware, if we need to use ID, then we need to provide hash, and if we need to use any CSS class, we need to provide dot notation at here. And once we are getting this value, we need to send any event to the interaction studio, and we need to provide a name to this event, like email sign up footer, and we need to track this in user attribute. And where we can track actual data in interaction studio, we need to go into the reports, and we have an event stream there, so where we can track the information. So I did some kind of implementation or some kind of visit on this site, so that's why these events are showing into this interaction studio. So and how we can see this, we need to save first, and after that we need to execute this. And once we execute this, we are gonna see the content zone on this page. Let me refresh again. Yes. Okay, we will check it more. So that's how we can create content zone and listener. Now moving on to the second requirement, onto the home page, we need to capture this hero image and sub hero image, and we need to mark 2 content zone on this area. That is just simple requirement, and we need to maybe customize this image, or maybe in future we need to replace this image with other image, so we can do by interaction studio. For that we need to create a page type called home. So we have a page type array, and we need to configure one object for that particular page type home. And how we can do that, I have already prepared that example with me. So that global object we already configured, and now we are configuring page type for the home page. And in the home page we need to provide some certain properties. First one, the name, that is optional. Second is the action. So Abhishek already told, this is just a name for this particular action that we need to perform. Third one is the isMatch function. So isMatch function, what basically do, it will just determine whether the current page is matched with the given configuration or not. So in this case, what we are doing, we are just checking the URL, that particular URL content home page or not. If this condition match, then it will return true, and this page marking as a home page. And on when this marking as a home page, what basically do, it will create 3 content zone, one for the image, main hero image, one for this sub hero image, and one for the global pop-up that will show on these pages. So let me save this and execute this. So if after this execution, if you are able to see the content zone, one for the global header that we created, one for the global footer, one for this home hero that we already given a name, and the selector we provided a CSS class, and one for the sub hero. So that's how we can create the content zone. And after, in future, if we need to replace some kind of template, we can easily do by using these content zone. And we can do any kind of customization that we need to implement in future. And for the validation purpose, like is that correctly implemented or not, this sitemap in the site, you can easily find out the method or the name that we implemented in sitemap. So these are the content zone that we implemented, and this is the listener that we implemented. So we have a listener in global, like email sign up, that is showing it here, and this is the implementation for the home page and global page. Now I'm moving on to the third requirement that we discussed. We need to keep the data that user visited. Like we need to keep the product, we need to keep the data for the product which user visited. For example, Bunny, that the user that Abhishek told is visited this particular shoes, maybe this men's shoes. So when user click on this, we need to implement, or we need to create some kind of content zone. We need to capture the information about this product, like what is the name of this product, what are the price for this, what kind of dimension that have, and what is the URL for this product, and what is the actual image URL. So that kind of catalog we need to create, and we need to mark some kind of some area as a content zone, and that will be customization, that will require customization in future. So we need to create that. So I have already prepared one content sitemap for that. I created this sitemap. So we already check about this initialization process, global object process, and now we are defining a page type for the product object, product object. Product page. So we define the name, and we define the isMatch function. Like in this particular page, if there is a data action called product show is available, then this page mark as a product detail page. Like div dot, like anywhere in the page classes where data action equals to this, then this mark as a product detail. And under this product detail, we are going to create catalog. So basically, Abhishek already told us what is a catalog. Catalog basically a object that use for collect and send the information about the user, about the product attributes, product maybe catalog, or some kind of data that we require from this product to Interaction Studio, and we need to keep track the data. So we are creating a catalog for the product, and whenever we are creating any catalog, the ID field, if you see, this ID field is required. If we are not giving this, then this catalog is not valid and given us an error. So in this, we are creating ID and different attribute like name, URL, image URL. We have a price, we have a category, we have different dimension like color, what are the features available. First, we are talking about the ID. If you see that particular ID, in case of isMatch function, we are just reading data from the DOM element. We have another way to read data from the data layer, and that is the most reliable and static way from where we can read the data. So I created a method called get product from data layer. And if you see this, this is just simple JavaScript where we are getting data from data layer, and we are traversing that, and we are getting data like we already define commerce object. Under the commerce object, we have a detail, and under the detail, we have a different product. So we can read data from the data layer, and marking first object's ID as a ID. And if that is not available, data layer is not available, we are just checking the DOM and setting the ID as a from the DOM. Second thing, we need to capture some information from JSON. So we are getting data from the JSON. And if we need to track URL from the URL, so we have a method called from href. We can track the data from there. We need to capture the image. If you see that that shoes image, so we can use this from selector attribute. So where from we can getting the image. Same for the price and category, like we are getting data from DOM element or from selector, and we have we have two dimension like color or maybe feature. So we are using same kind of method, that we previously using, like from select attribute multiple and from selector multiple attributes. So these are the methods available in under the Average library. And one more thing, more important thing, like you are thinking like from where these kind of ID and ID or maybe the CS is injected. So that is the requirement that we need to provide to our customer, like that kind of data or that kind of tag or maybe the metadata we required for the implementation of Interaction Studio in your site. So that is the duty of our client or maybe the implementation team who created this site. They inject these kind of CSS class ID or metadata in the site, so by which we can implement the Interaction Studio. So this is the catalog. And third thing, we need to implement the content zone for the customization. So if you see that we implemented some kind of content zone on this page by which we can do later customization. Like we created product detail specification row and product specification row 2, and we also implemented a listener. So whenever user click on add to cart, we implemented a listener. So basically it will track the line item and send it to the Interaction Studio. So that's how it is implemented. So, and after implementing this in sitemap, we need first, what we need to do, we need to save it and we need to execute it. And when we are executing it show all the data in the left panel. So we created a catalog. So all the data related with the catalog will show in this catalog data. And also we created two content zone on this page: product detail specific specification row 1, row 2, and the pop, and one listener add to cart. So that will be shown in this section. And if you see that, that is the product specification, product detail specification row, that will maybe changes in future. So we have a template, custom template kind of feature, so we can replace this entire thing in future if we want it. And for same thing for this second row. So that's how we can mark the content zone. We can create a catalog and we can send the data onto the catalog, and also we can provide some kind of listener. And where we can track under the reports, under the event stream, and when user click on that event stream, all the data is showing at here. So a minute ago user click on that particular section and you can see all the data that we captured from there. So we created a catalog item. If you see that, we created two content zone, and what kind of page data there is the product detail. So all the details are there, and we can see all the data in there also, like what activity we are doing. Now we can talk about more talk more about the best practices to capture data from the DOM, from the ID, from the metadata. So first thing we need to keep always in mind, we don't need to use any kind of third-party library, any kind of jQuery for capturing data. We have different so I'm deleting this. So we have different methods available to capture data from the site. So first method that we have for the best practices that we already talk about is the object window and window object. So in window object we have a data layer, and from data layer we can get the data that we already discussed. So how we can use the window layer object? We just need to use this site, and if we click on window.data layer, we can see all the objects that are available on window data layer, and we can track the data. If we some data from window data layer, we can easily do that. Second thing, if some data is available on metadata, how we can do? For example, we have description that is available in metadata. How we can track? So if you see that element, and under the element in the head section where all the metadata is available, and we need to track some information that are coming from metadata. For example, this description, and we need to use this description in our sitemap implementation, how we can do. We just need to use this method. Need to remove this. So avergauge.resolver.from metadata, and we can easily track data from the metadata. Third thing, if some data, for example, if some data is available in JSON tag, how we can track the data? If, for example, we have a script tag, and under the script tag we have available this data, like the name or this complete JSON, and we need to just get the data of the name, not all other property. So how we can do? So same thing, avergauge.resolver.from JSON LD. So that is method available in Avergauge library, and by which we can track the data from the script or from the JSON. So if you see that we provide the name property, and if you search in under this JSON, there is a name property that we are tracking. So that is the name property, and that will return a widget as a value. Now we are moving on to the second last way how we can track the data. So if we need to track some information from the URL, we have directly from href, and under this we just need to provide the URL, and it will return the value, and we can set in our sitemap. Now we have last method, and I'm talking about the best practices. If we have some ID or maybe some CSS class, and we need to track data, like in this site we have a span, and under this span we have ID called product, and for this product ID we have data product ID, and we need to keep this track. We need to track this ID. How we can do? In the same in Avergauge library, we have a method called from selector attribute, and we need to provide first what ID we need to provide, and second what kind of property for this particular ID's element we need to provide, and by this we can easily track. And some other way, for example, we need to track the information, that particular text. How we can do? We need to provide from selector and this thing, and by which we can track the information. So these are the best practices that we need to keep in mind when we are implementing or when we are fetching data from our site in interaction in sitemap. So I think that's all from my side.
Terms of best practices, or one other tool which you may want to use, Kamal has talked about almost everything. That Kamal has talked about using promise, and the entire purpose of using promise is to wait for data which is not loaded during page load. So if you are implementing a promise, you'll find a lot of methods or functions in avergauge.displayUtil util class or category. So please use those methods when you are implementing a promise. Apart from that, Anil, I would quickly like to demo one more thing if we have enough time. I mean,
we are almost at time, Abhishek. So
okay,
if it is not gonna take more than few minutes, let's do this.
It's not gonna take more than 5 minutes. I just want to show that data ingestion manual process within Interaction Studio.
Yeah, let's
go. Yep. Yeah, give me a second. Yeah, let me know when you can see my screen. Do you all see my screen?
Yeah.
Do you see Interaction Studio interface?
Yes.
Perfect. So I just wanted to talk quickly about the manual process of data ingestion, and you can always automate this entire process. Yeah, you can always automate this entire process. So in order to ingest data, you look at this feeds dashboard and SFTP files sections. Now this feeds dashboard is something which I have already shown. This is an interface where you can manually come and import your data. And I'll just take example of how do we import user ETL through user ETL feed, the user data. If you look at it, I already have imported some data in my users. So today I'll be going through that process. In order to import that data, what you need to do is do validate or execute. Here you can select a file which exists in your SFTP server already. But if you don't have that, don't worry. You can go to upload files. You can click on this, use whatever your CSV file is. This will show you the preview of all the records available. So here you can see that this is the user ID, this is specific format. You have to write attribute colon attribute name. So attribute colon first name, last name, or other attributes as well. Now when this preview is loaded, you just need to click on this run test. What this run test will do, it will stage all the data. And it will show here, you see everything in green. So what green means that this all data is new data in Interaction Studio. There's no row available in Interaction Studio for this particular data. And when you see that everything is green, there is no error, and it got successful, you just need to commit that data here. And yeah, just commit it. And it successfully should. It did not show the message. So let me try to again upload that file and see whether that got. So if you look at it now, I have selected the same file. I'm running my test. And if you look at it now, the color is gone because this data is now in Interaction Studio. What will happen is if you there is a particular attribute which is updated in a row, for that particular row will be highlighted in blue as you are updating that data. And whatever data is new will be highlighted in green. And if there is no change in data at all, then the no color would be reflected. So this is how you can do it manually. There are ways to automate it as well, but yeah, we don't have enough time to cover that. That was all, Anil. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Abhishek. We are almost about time. So Abhishek, we just have one new question. So in that demo, are those column names format are specific to CSV file?
Yes, so Interaction Studio has provided a list of feeds and those attributes there, that how those headers should be mapped. And sorry, I just cannot respond there. I don't know what the problem is. I'm unable to reply there.
No problem, no problem. And we had one more question. So all those who are wondering what is Evergage. So Evergage was the Interaction Studio only earlier, but then Salesforce acquired that product and rebranded it as Marketing Cloud Interaction Studio. So whatever you see in Interaction Studio is Evergage.
Yeah, so they acquired that product and company, and now this is part of Marketing Cloud product suite. So this comes under that Marketing Cloud umbrella.
Yep. So as we don't have any more questions, so let's quickly. Okay, so before we wrap up, there's a sneak peek in the next session. So we're gonna have our Interaction Studio Bootcamp session 3 on 18th of June, same time. We'll be publishing the page soon. So please do RSVP for the event and continue learning Interaction Studio. And yeah.
And I would just like to call out one more thing. So whoever is trying to learn Interaction Studio, there are two parts to that. One is related to, you must have seen so far, one is related to designing the entire catalog, and the other one is related to those JavaScript skills. So I think I have worked enough, so I can categorize that you need 20 to 30% skills as a JavaScript developer. So you can have one JavaScript developer in your team, and then the most of the part is around planning and defining that blueprint in order to give your developer a very clear instruction that how that sitemap should be implemented. So it is a mix of both things. For implementing sitemap and templates, we need JavaScript skills, but everything else you can go and configure in Interaction Studio.
Yeah, so now thanks everyone for joining this session, and if you do have any more questions, you can reach out to any one of us on the session platforms, and we'll be happy to resolve those questions. So till the next section, please keep safe and keep learning, and we all will see you in the session 3. Thanks everyone.